Alright, the Brasileirão is over, and right after, transfer rumors start in Brazilian football. And today, I'll position myself as a market sociologist at Fluminense, searching for players in South American football to improve the team's performance. If you don't know me yet, my name is George Mottor. I'm a performance analyst, a football coach, and also have a master's in big data, game analysis, and scouting from the European University. So today, I'm going to show you here in Tableau how Fluminense's offensive performance was in the Brasileirão. And with these metrics that we're going to outline and analyze here, after that, we'll head to the player market, specifically the South American market, in search of players who can truly improve Fluminense's offensive sector. Let's start by sharing my Tableau screen here. And the first thing we're going to discuss is the number of goals Fluminense scored. We can immediately see that it was well below average, and it was the third worst attack in terms of goals in the Brasileirão. So I created several scatter plots here so I could find a way to look for players that I'll need to search for to improve performance, to improve the offensive side. So amongst the many things we did, we had to find total goals per goal conceded, right? So we see that Fluminense, as we mentioned earlier, Fluminense had the third worst attack in effectiveness in the Brasileiro in goals. And then we're going to analyze his shots, powerful bullet-like shots. So we've outlined several different metrics here, such as duels won, offensive duels, aerial duels, crosses, and specifically accurate crosses, all right? Entries into the penalty area or the average shot distance, entries into the penalty area with crosses, entries into the penalty area with runs, accurate progressive passes, received final passes, which was also well below average. So there are various situations here, total goals by touches in the box, okay? And also this calculated field that I created. I made two calculated fields here to understand a little bit better the situation in Fluminense's final third. So I created passes in the final third per shot. So how many accurate passes does Fluminense need to make in the final third to actually get a shot on goal? So here's Fluminense. Fluminense is the second team that is the most passes in the final third to get a shot. That's 37 passes in the final third to get a shot. And they also need 16 touches in the box to score a goal, meaning the second, 16 more than 32 here. For Atlético Goianiense, 16.21, or the third, Fluminense is right here at the top. So it's the third team that needs the most touches in the box per goal, okay? So if I were to talk about each metric I chose, like correct progressive passes, you'll also need to find this, passes with correct purposes. We'd spend a lot of time just discussing these metrics, but many are related, like entering the box and crosses, okay? So few entries with crosses from Fluminense, but there are also many entries in stride. So I liked Fluminense's situation as they're among the best in terms of entering the box with runs, but also among the worst, the third worst in crosses in the Brasileirão. So with these metrics already carefully noted and thoroughly analyzed, we will now turn our attention to the South American market to search for player options that can significantly improve Fluminense's overall offensive performance. Now let's move to the second graph where we're going to be able to explore more of the situations, and I'll be more for a better dynamic in this video, okay? So let's go to part 2. All right, after we've finished creating the player table, there are more than 7,000 South American players listed here. We must now begin the search we've already outlined to identify players based on those prior metrics where Fluminense shows some weaknesses. We need to identify which wingers, attackers, midfielders who need to enjoy the game more, fill more space, finish more, make better crosses. Then we can also look for fullbacks, right, who cross more, who possess more offensive power, since we are currently looking for players for the offensive sector. I created 2 calculated fields here, 3 calculated fields. One is fill area, which is related to touches in the area and entries in the area. While the other players are also considered wingers, I've established two distinct categories of wingers here. The builder winger, who is mainly related to delivering crosses, winning offensive duels, and providing assists. And then there's the finisher winger, whose performance is tied to taking shots, scoring goals, and also winning offensive duels.
so that we can, just to refine a little bit more later, the extremes. So what's the first idea that we're going to do here? So we have to create here a scatter plot. Let's put something really basic just for us to start to show a situation here. So I'll put expected assists.
And I'll also be including expected goals. You know, that would be XG and XA, right? Expected goals, that's what we're discussing here.
I had already set the position here, you know, for the filtering process. So at this moment, I'll only be wanting attackers, wingers, and midfielders. I put team and player here just for a player to join the table. And team I put here because it distinguishes if a player played 2 competitions and sometimes gets duplicated. So it's good to have it here by team, okay? We also need to find a way for Fluminense players to stand out in this environment so we can get an idea of the difference in players that Fluminense managed to produce in the Brasileirão compared to what others did in their respective championships. So we're going to take the team and color it, okay? Simp. I'll pull the team here from the man marks and color. So it's going to end up looking quite colorful, but that's not really what we're aiming for, is it? We'll come over here to the top right corner, and right next to team, you'll see a small dot, and that's where we'll go to edit all the colors. Let's set them all. We'll choose a specific color here for all the different clubs. Let's say blue, and then we'll apply it to every single one. Click there. Now we're going to look for Fluminense right here. Fluminense, here, Fluminense. Let's pick another color for Fluminense. Put red here to make it stand out. Oh, Fluminense U23. Because sometimes it might be a player who played for Fluminense's U23 team, got promoted, played, and that's it. Let's click OK and see what appears now. They are all blue, and the Fluminense players are highlighted in red right here. So we can easily make out and identify them. John Arias, that's him. Ganso, Canon, Kawan, Elias. This one here as well, but it must be Marquinhos right here, okay? We have some players here, but we can see that other players are quite a bit above Several in these 2 specific aspects compared to those from Fluminense. So we're going to start taking a closer look here at which players are standing out. These are already observations. Tolima, the Mexican championship, has certain similarities with the Brazilian championship. So it's a good market, but these are players who also have a higher market value, making them more difficult to attract. However, Brazilian football does have the capacity to attract players from the Mexican market. So now I'm going to construct some other metrics here. I'll take a quick break to build all these metrics and analyze various players. Then we'll come back. Otherwise, the video will get too long, okay? So if we were to go back here now, looking at some metrics I've developed here, we can already discover some quite interesting names, you see? So we can examine positions based on, for instance, this one, as I mentioned, expected assists, expected goals. I also included builder wingers with finisher wingers. Despite its extreme name, it will actually serve all players, both midfielders and attackers, okay? And then we'll look here. For example, I've used touches in the box as the indicator for size. So the larger the circle, the more touches in the box he has, all right? So Guilherme from Santos, the Guilherme who has been playing for Santos, right? Despite him getting a strong label as a Serie B player, he's had some excellent Serie B seasons, okay? We're talking about individuals who are still capable of performing exceptionally well in Serie A. So this Oscar Ribeiro, the Ribeiro from Barcelona, he really drew a lot of attention, didn't he? He appears in various situations. He's an attacker. Octavio, right? Octavio Ribeiro is already quite experienced, 32 years old. He's been around, he's been through many different contexts, you know. He's Uruguayan, he's played in various contexts, Uruguay, Chile, and here it's MLS, right? In Chile again, Mexico, Uruguay, Mexico. So he's a very experienced player who's been delivering some interesting numbers. So it's worth checking out his capabilities a bit in the video. For example, this year, 40 games, 25 goals, 4 assists, a pretty good number, right? So we should check out the situations. In the Libertadores, he played 2 matches and scored 1 goal. Then this year, he also played in the Players League and the Uruguayan League with 15 games, 11 goals, 17 games, 12 goals. So in the same year, in 2 different leagues, he managed to perform very well, right? He did. And then also, back to the tableau, looking here at how to fill the area and shots per 90, okay? So filling the area is a metric I created here that involves touches in the box, okay?
the player receiving the ball in the area, and also his passes into the area, and also shots per 90. So how many shots, even though he feels the area, makes passes, he still has to shoot. And also you see the larger the little ball, right, over here, the greater the number of goals he scored. So I also made sure to include only those who have scored at least a minimum of 7 goals this current season. All right. So as we're looking through it like this, some interesting names start to emerge. And then one particular name really caught my eye quite a bit. And that was this one from Sporting Cristal, Gonzalez.
We're going to look at it here fast.
Gonzalez here from Sporting Cristal. He's an Argentine player, 25 years old, who was playing in the B series of the Argentine Championship, went to Peru's A series. In 36 games, 14 goals, 23 assists. That's a very high number, okay? A number that makes you want to go check the video, see what he's got. He has a low market value of 2 million euros. So he's a name to keep an eye on. For a winger, these are very, very high numbers. Okay, very high numbers. Going back to the board once again. So it could still be this one. This Cuesta from Melgar also has impressive statistics. So I guess Otavio Ribeiro is making an appearance here once again, right? He fills the area, finishes for 90 goals. So attackers are coming. Oh, Rodalega, who is already known to us. He played for Bahia. Ace is also known to us. Cauteruccio is known to us. So we're checking here. And here at Fluminense, John Arias is the one who stands out most in this situation. Anderson, in this particular situation, we're looking at successful offensive actions for 90 minutes with precise passes delivered into the penalty area, okay? And I've categorized this as a really impactful assist. So let's just take a moment to see who's appearing here on the screen. Diaz is a very seasoned player. He's quite, he has an advanced age.
Guerra is here. He's already been to Brazil.
Okay, so we're looking here and checking to see which ones have. And in the middle here, one appeared. Just remember, these are only midfielders, okay? So each situation that I created, you can go ahead and change the. If I wanted to see only midfielders here, right, then only the midfielders will appear. Guzman did really well here. Let me show you Guzman as well. Here's Guzman. Guzman, a 26-year-old Colombian midfielder, plays for Tolima. He's only played in the Colombian league, but he's also had some interesting numbers here for a midfielder. 18 goals, 9 assists, 10 goals, 8 assists. It's very similar to the performance of Garo of Vega, right? But you need to watch the video to verify his situations, right? So he's a player who didn't have much success at Atlético Nacional, right? If we look at the numbers, we're not talking about qualitative performance. We're only talking about quantitative at this moment. But there at Tolima, he performs very well. So we can go back to, of the ones I had separated here, it was mainly these 3. Let's put that aside. Let me see if there's anyone else. Carlos Melgar is already one. He's quite a bit more seasoned. He's 30 years old, but he never left Bolivia. This is a truly unique context here for him. So for every spreadsheet that we're creating, we'll be adding some specific situations so we can identify which players from South America might fit our profile here in Brazilian football. If you take out a midfielder here and put in only wingers, so if you're looking for wingers who have assists, who have successful actions, who have a precise pass into the penalty area, Guilherme is a good option. Look at Rojas here from Monterrey, so I'll go to his number. 11 successful actions out of 90 offensive actions is a very high number, very high. The number of passes into the box is also very high here. It's 107. We can take a quick look at him here. Monterrey wouldn't release him easily probably, but let's take a look at him here. Rojas in Monterrey. We're going to go and check on him. Let's take a look at it here.
Duran Rojas is 22 years old, standing 1 meter 80 centimeters, quite a tall man.
So he played at least 2 competitions this year, right? It shows 24 and 25 here, but I'll just use 24.
to get his number in other competitions too. Okay, now we're set. So he was in Colombia, right? His performance there, 2 goals, 7 assists, caught the attention of this Mexican club, 16 games. But you see, in these 16 games, his playing time was quite limited, right? They played him for about 30 minutes per game, sometimes 32 minutes per game. So he has it decreases his overall performance here.
But he's a player who needs video review as well.
These 7 players who really do draw attention here in these situations.
If we're going to put forwards here, let's just put forwards. Let me see if any forward shows up with a high number of assists as well.
Fernandez, the player from Peñarol, he actually played in both the final and the semi-final against Botafogo.
So these are the metrics we're creating to find the players we're looking for, right? We need them. Here, for example, we have a finisher, one who fills the box, right? So if we want the team to finish well, we have to fill the box. So let's put the goals here for, not even goals, let's put expected goals.
So that we can.
Let me just check here. Andro da Lega. Let me find someone quite different here.
Oh, it's Rivero. He's back at it again.
So these are players you should always be watching out for here. Pedro, Hugo, Carlos Baca, Eric Poga, who is appearing right here, hired by Bahia. Guzman is showing up here for another time. We can actually swap the goals for expected assists. Lonsdale Davis back again.
Oh, Guzman. So these are players who have been repeatedly appearing across various metrics and who deserve.
Well, it's a better follow-up to see if it's really worth making this investment. Soltoro also appeared here. Zavala appears on many lists. Zavala appears in many metrics. Zavala from Colo Colo. So these are names to keep on the radar.
Well, then we can see that with Tableau, right? With these types of charts that we create here, we can broaden the range of options for the metrics we analyze. So it's not just about what meets the eye, it's also about the data. And then we use our judgment. I think in South America, there are many players that we can explore. We need to explore them even better, right? More and more foreign players are arriving in Brazil. Most of them are still Argentinians, as we've seen this year, and we can certainly look for other nationalities. The Mexican league is very good to follow. The Colombian league is also quite fast-paced. So some leagues are very fast-paced, quite similar to the Brazilian one. We can certainly extract some very good players who can fill gaps here that we're currently not finding in Brazilian football.
Well, obviously, this is a much broader sample, right? If we were to refine this, it would take a very long time to truly find the best opportunities. We'd be increasing the filters to gradually reduce the number of players and genuinely identify the top options across various metrics. Keep in mind, we didn't just consider goals, assists, or anything like that. We focused on the metrics Fluminense needed to improve its offensive power, right? Touches in the box, balls in the box, passes into the box, progressive passes, crosses. All of this was created to address what Fluminense needed at the time. So this is just a sample, right?
Yeah, but now we're already seeing some really great names out there. So if you like this type of content, don't forget to like and share it with your friends who would like to understand more about how to research using Tableau, perform market analysis, competitor analysis, and competition analysis with Tableau. And if you want access to this spreadsheet I used with these 7,000 players, just comment I want it, and I'll DM you the link to download this Excel sheet with all 7,000 South American players. So a hug, and until next time.